Most people believe authority comes from explanation. They think the more they justify themselves, the safer they are. But the samurai understood something unsettling. The one who explains the most is often the one with the least power. Silence was not weakness to them, it was control refined through discipline. And once you understand why they refuse to explain themselves, you begin to see how modern life quietly trains you to surrender your authority every day. In the records of Miyamoto Musashi, there is no obsession with being understood. Musashi did not argue his philosophy in public squares, nor did he clarify himself to satisfy doubt. His writings, especially the Dokudo, are sparse, direct, and often uncomfortable. They are not explanations meant to persuade, but observations meant to be lived. This restraint was deliberate, rooted in Zen and Bushido, where excess speech was seen as a leak of spirit. Chapter 1. The Need to be Understood. In the modern world, there is a man named Kenji. He works in an environment where opinions are exchanged constantly and justification is expected immediately. When questioned, he feels a tightening in his chest, an urge to explain himself quickly before misunderstanding takes hold. He believes silence will be read as guilt or incompetence, so he fills the space with words. Each explanation brings momentary relief, but over time, something subtle erodes inside him. The samurai would have recognized this erosion instantly. In Bushido, unnecessary speech was a sign of inner disorder. A warrior who explained himself sought validation outside his own center. Zen teachings warned that when the mind is unsettled, the mouth moves to compensate. Silence, by contrast, required internal alignment. Chapter 2. Musashi and the Unspoken Blade. Musashi famously arrived late to duels, not to provoke explanations, but to observe reactions. He did not justify his timing or clarify his intent. His silence forced others to reveal themselves while he remained unreadable. This was not arrogance, it was discipline. The one who explains exposes their strategy. Kenji begins to notice how often he speaks before thinking. In meetings, he over-clarifies his decisions. In personal relationships, he rushes to defend his intentions. Slowly, he realizes that his explanations are not strengthening trust, but weakening his presence. People listen less when words are abundant. Authority dissolves when it is pleaded for. Chapter 3. Silence as Inner Structure. Zen does not teach silence as a performance, it teaches silence as structure. When the mind is ordered, speech becomes precise and rare. Samurai training emphasized this through long periods of solitude, repetitive practice, and unspoken routines. Instructions were minimal, correction was often wordless. Kenji experiments with restraint. When challenged, he pauses instead of reacting. The silence feels unbearable at first, like standing exposed. But something unexpected happens. Others begin to fill the space, their assumptions surface, their insecurities become visible. Kenji notices that by not explaining, he sees more clearly. Chapter 4. The Fear Beneath Explanation. The need to explain is rooted in fear. Fear of being misjudged, fear of losing status, fear of being excluded. The samurai trained specifically to remove these fears. Through constant exposure to discomfort, they reduced their dependence on external approval. Musashi wrote that attachment clouds judgment, and the desire to be seen favorably is one of the strongest attachments. Kenji confronts this directly. He realizes his explanations are attempts to control perception. But control, the samurai knew, cannot be forced outward. It must be stabilized inward. The less he explains, the more grounded he feels. His words, when finally spoken, carry weight because they are no longer defensive. Chapter 5. When Silence Speaks Louder. In traditional Japanese culture, ma, the space between, is as important as the action itself. Silence creates contrast. It signals confidence without assertion. The samurai understood that presence was louder than persuasion. A warrior who stood calmly did not need to announce his strength. Kenji's behavior shifts. He speaks less, listens more, and allows misunderstandings to resolve themselves when they are unimportant. Not every assumption needs correction. Not every doubt needs reassurance. This elimination of unnecessary response restores energy he did not know he was wasting. Chapter 6. The Discipline of Not Responding. This restraint is not passive, it is an active discipline. The samurai did not remain silent out of avoidance, but out of mastery. They knew when speech was necessary and when it was indulgent. Musashi warned against engaging in unnecessary conflicts, verbal or otherwise, because they pull the mind away from the way. Kenji adopts a simple rule. He speaks only when clarity will truly improve the situation. If words are meant to soothe his own anxiety, he withholds them. Over time, his presence changes. People stop pressing him for justification. His silence signals boundaries more effectively than explanations ever did. Chapter 7. Authority without assertion. True authority does not announce itself, it is felt. The samurai did not argue their honor, they embodied it. They did not defend their discipline, they lived it. This quiet authority unsettles those who rely on noise to feel secure. Kenji experiences this shift fully. In moments where he once rushed to speak, he now remains still. His calm creates gravity, others slow down around him. The absence of explanation forces respect, not through intimidation, but through coherence. Chapter 8. Returning to the center. Zen teaches that the tongue moves when the mind wavers. Silence is a return to center. Musashi's life was marked by isolation, not because he rejected others, but because solitude sharpened his alignment. In alignment, there is nothing to explain. Kenji no longer feels the need to manage every perception. He understands that those who matter will observe consistency over time. Those who demand constant explanation are not seeking truth, but control. Silence protects the self from both. In the end, the samurai did not explain themselves because their lives were the explanation. Their actions were complete sentences. Their silence was not emptiness, but containment. When you stop explaining, you stop leaking authority. And in that stillness, something ancient and immovable returns to its rightful place.